Once upon a time, in the dense jungle of Amazon, there lived a mischievous and curious monkey named Quincy. Quincy was a unique monkey in many ways. He had a knack for getting into other gadgets that no other monkey had ever shown any interest in. Quincy's favorite tool was his bow and arrow, which he made himself by borrowing some twigs and vines from his fellow primates. He would spend hours practicing and perfecting his aim, often using nearby fruits as targets. One day, while Quincy was busy practicing his aim, he heard a strange noise coming from the nearby bushes. As he cautiously moved closer to investigate, he saw a big black balloon slowly rising from the bushes. Quincy was puzzled, as he had never seen anything like this before. He wondered, what was this? It was his mortal enemy, Lunarius, the evil balloon who had been causing chaos in the monkey kingdom for generations on end. Quincy knew he had to do something to stop Lunarius. So he grabbed his trusty bow and arrow and aimed at the creature. However, Lunarius was too quick and managed to dodge the arrow. Quincy quickly realized that he needed more training to fight such a formidable foe. Quincy knew of a temple that lay deep in the heart of the jungle. It was called the Temple of the Monkey Sun God. The temple was home to some of the most skilled monkey warriors, and Quincy knew that he could learn a lot from them. Quincy made up his mind and set out on his journey to the temple. It was a long and treacherous journey. Quincy was determined to succeed. Finally, after many days of walking, he reached the temple. As he entered, he was greeted by a group of monkey priests who welcomed him warmly. Quincy explained his situation to the priests, and they agreed to help him. The priests introduced Quincy to the teachings of the Monkey Sun God and taught him the ancient art of storm arrows. The storm arrows were the most powerful arrows in the jungle. They had the ability to strike down any foe, no matter how strong they were. Quincy knew this is what he just needed in order to defeat Lunarius. For many weeks, Quincy trained hard at the temple, honing his skills and practicing his aim. Finally, the day arrived when he felt ready to face Lunarius once again. He thanked the priests and set out to face Lunarius once again. As he arrived in the jungle, Quincy saw that Lunarius had gathered a group of his minions, the Lunarians, who were helping him to cause chaos in the jungle. Quincy knew that he had to act fast in order to beat his foe. He took out his bow and arrow and aimed at Lunarius. But this time, he had a sudden gust of wind coming to help him. He shot at Lunarius and hit him square in the chest. Lunarius was no match for the storm arrow, as he quickly was defeated and deflated and vanished into thin air. The Lunarians were shocked and distorted by the sudden defeat of their leader. They looked at Quincy with fear and respect, realizing that they had underestimated the power of the monkey with the bow and arrow. As Quincy continued to safeguard the jungle against the threats of the cults of the balloons, he was faced with a new and unexpected adversary, Pat Futsy. Pat Futsy was a well-known monkey in the jungle and was admired by many for his strength and courage. However, he was known for his hot-headedness and had been known to pick fights with monkeys in the past. One day, Quincy heard that Pat Futsy had been hypnotized by the cult of the balloons and was now working with them to cause destruction to all. He knew that this must be stopped at all costs, and he went out and set for him. Quincy gathered some friends who were all nervous, but Quincy remained calm and composed, knowing that he had to take a strategic approach to defeat Pat Futsy and the balloons. He decided to split up his friends and order them to attack the balloons from all sides, while he focused on Pat Futsy himself. Quincy took out his bow and arrow, which he had repaired after his previous battle with Lunarius, and aimed at Pat Futsy. He released his arrow, but unfortunately, due to an injury from the previous battle, he missed his mark. Pat Futsy let out a mighty roar and went after Quincy. Quincy knew that a single mistake would cause him death, and that the storm arrow was the only chance he had. With renewed strength, Quincy picked up his bow and arrow and aimed it towards Pat Futsy. This time, he'd use the ancient art of storm arrows that he learned at the temple. With a sudden burst of energy, Quincy released the arrow, which struck Pat Futsy. With the force of a thunderbolt, Pat Futsy was knocked back and fell unconscious to the ground. The balloons, who had been watching the battle, were now terrified, and they fled the scene. Quincy and his friends had emerged victorious, but Quincy knew that he owed his victory to the Monkey Sun gods for his guidance and promised to continue to use his powers for good. The battle at Muddy Petals had been a turning point for Quincy, who had realized the importance of teamwork and strategy. He also learned that sometimes it is not just physical strength, but mental agility that can help him in a fight. He learned that with his friends, he could accomplish anything. The Battle of Muddy Petals had also given him physical strength and mental, spiritual power that would help him in his later battles. With these lessons learned, Quincy knew that he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in the jungle.